All right, let's go ahead and talk Week 9 Colts Vikings. So the line has Minnesota favored by 6 points, and I'm going to take Minnesota. I'll talk you through what I'm thinking here. So let's kind of just start with the numbers here. So the simulation has Minnesota winning with a 68% chance, and that just correlates to about a 5.1 points. But again, that's a correlation. It's purely predicated on a curve that statisticians have used. The pure model results have it being 27-21, something along those lines. So that's where you get right around that 6 point spread, which case, depending on how you interpret the numbers, you might very well say, yeah, I'll go ahead and take that. I definitely wouldn't be taking Minnesota if it were 7 or 7.5. But that that one score, I think that's a significant number. I might even give it some more thought. I mean, definitely if it were 7.5, I would have to rethink that given these numbers. A couple of things that I like is that the confidence interval, the top end of Minnesota, I'm sorry, top end of Indianapolis is below the bottom end of Minnesota as well. A couple of things. Let's just look at some of the fundamentals. So when you look over here at Minnesota, you just see a really sound passing game, which for Sam Darnold sounds unusual, but he's been playing well this year. They figured something out with him. The defense is solid, particularly against a rush, and not too shabby in the other areas. Whereas when I come over here for Indianapolis, you can see that they're mediocre to bad on these areas, and they're not too bad up here in rushing. I think that's because Anthony Richardson is just such a good athlete, but I don't think he's necessarily a really good quarterback per se. Definitely, if you've been following, uh, Minnesota's got they've dropped the last two. They got to pick that up. Certainly, Detroit was a tough one, and then they got stomped on by the Rams. So, which I didn't see that one coming, and I'm not sure a whole lot of people did. But guess what? The Rams pulled together a couple of things and they surprised them. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the raw numbers over here. So, uh, I lost my cursor. Don't know what happened to that, but I'll go ahead and go on. So uh, the Vikings pass and rush game really is, um, I think, better. The numbers show looks like it's a slight difference, but when you're looking at uh, you know a higher end of that, uh, the more consistently that passing, that rushing game is what you're going to see. I think that speaks more to the consistency of what they're able to do. And then likewise, then when you come over to the right, you definitely see some good numbers, I think, from Indianapolis, but they're not controlling the ball. You're throwing more interceptions. Meanwhile, you see that Minnesota really is controlling the ball well. And again, for Sam Darnold, I think that's been the key part of his career that he hasn't been doing. And then they're getting some good explosiveness out of their offense. Meanwhile, both teams, I think, have some problems protecting their quarterbacks. They're going to need to improve that. That's probably feeding the uh, the sacks uh, and the propensity for fumbling for Indianapolis, just getting that extra pressure. I think part of it too is Anthony Richardson's going to like to run. So again, I always tell people interpret the stats the way that you think that they represent. That's the reason why I show them to you. And so before I sign off, I'm trying to boost my subscribers. So look down to the bottom right and please subscribe. Thank you very much.